Alright, let's see if we can get some things done. There should be a woman, yeah, the White Witch, that's where we are.
Why, I see Master Zigzags has upgraded from his shabby little hut at the edge of the hour, from the fairy dimension to the, space-time weaver hunter imp one. What do you call this place again?
This is our homestead on the sheltered plain at the end of time.
Ha! Is that so? It seems I have my share to learn about the magical world yet. The end of time. Well, suddenly your association with Master Zigzags makes sense. Well, I must say, it's no small relief to find myself in a safe haven among such allies.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. How is your sister involved with the dire happenings around Riverland?
I believe the answer to that begins centuries ago, when your order was still cutting down so-called dark magicians by the dozens. Ours was a family of born sorcerers, you see. It was in our blood to interact with Source. But our parents were determined to curb the power within us. Still, their meekness wouldn't save them from the Source Hunters.
You mean someone of our own order killed your parents?
They came on a quiet morning. My mother was wild with fright and commanded me to hide myself and Leandra outside, among the trees. Even at that young age, we knew not to question her. We climbed high into the branches of a nearby tree, and before we could look away, our parents were cut down without ceremony before our door. The Source Hunters sauntered away, wiping their blades with pride. 2 more sorcerers dead, a job well done.
What became of Leandra and yourself?
From that moment on, everything was different. As we trembled in that tree, our fear and our desperation was so potent that the magic within us began to weave together. Our souls became forged together, our bond unbreakable. We would survive, thrive even, within those woods, never speaking to outsiders. Our soul forge meant that if one of us were to die, the other would instantly perish too. We kept one another close. Leandra's capacity was enormous. Source didn't frighten her, and she delved into that dark well with terrible regularity. I did my best to guide her, but she fast outgrew my admonitions.
So what, do we have a reason not to kill Ikara then? Tell me what happened between yourself, Leandra, and the wizard.
My sister and I were mired in a solitary existence, witches among the trees when Zandalore came. Leandra especially couldn't leave him be. He was a feast of information, and she wouldn't rest until she'd absorbed every bit of knowledge he offered. Their days were spent on charms, hexes, and the like. At night, Leandra would wander off to practice what she'd learned, and Zandalore and I would settle into our quiet tasks, side by side. We were a content trio, the 3 of us, but base impulse would undo us.
What do you mean?
As you know, Leandra and I were soul-forged. This offered us a window into one another's souls. I knew Leandra had developed feelings for Zandalore, and she knew I had too, but it was me to whom he confessed his love. Those quiet evenings together had captured his heart, as they had mine. Her heart broke the moment we announced our new attachment, and I felt the pain of it as sharply as a knife. She fled, without a word, and I didn't see her for 2 terrible years. My connection to her, our soul forge, grew weaker. It was as though some third entity, a parasite, were atop our souls, sucking the strength from it day by day.
Uh, what next? How do we stop Leandra?
We've a single order of business first and foremost. Leandra is gathering an army, and I fear we'll have to get through it if we wish to find her. But first, we must learn more about Leandra's plans. How many of these so-called Immaculates does she have in her palm, and to what end is she directing them? Your journey must begin in the Lacula mines, where she has been accumulating materials and manpower for a purpose as yet unknown. The way will be dangerous. Her allies are growing more powerful and numerous by the minute, but we must discover exactly what Leandra is planning and why.
What can you tell me about infiltrating the mines?
A soul forge comes with its own benefits, Source Hunter. Though our connection has weakened, I still see the occasional vision of Leandra's doings, the pangs of her deepest felt emotions, and flashes of her triumphs. One vision. I had thought it was only a nightmare, but now I see it was something much worse. Leandra is collecting materials, precisely what, I cannot say, and is hard at work shaping them into something sinister. Her frustrations are rivaled only by her mirth. I can see she's growing closer and closer to achieving something dire. You must make your way deep into the mines to see exactly what she's planning.
Is there no redeeming your sister?
I believe that our soul forge has been damaged. By what? I can only guess. The fraying of the bond between us has left Leandra adrift in a well of sorrow she truly believes will never end. What she needs is a hand. My hand, out of this abyss. If our soul forge is repaired, I am certain she'll cease blazing this path of destruction.
Let's discuss the mines.
The way may be treacherous, but you must get inside. I fear my sister is doing something dreadful so far from the light of day.
Okay. Guess that's it. Wasn't particularly useful.
Tell me, my friend, have you heard any recent prophecies regarding the... what was it again? Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away from home is... It shall be my pleasure.
I've seen Leandra at work in Hyberheim. She's using starstones to turn them into bloodstones.
Of all the wicked things, the one substance that can stand in the way of the void, and she's turning it into vessels of blight. You'll have to redouble your efforts, my friend. You'll have to find more starstones before she does, and forestall her insidious distortions.
How might I serve our mission?
Same thing with her. The starstones, bloodstones.
Leandra. She desires to be Mother of the Void, but you have the power to undo her born-in-blood litter. Though they be baptized in blood, you can cleanse the starstones still, and use them to thwart their grim queen.
Pixie dust, 744 for 4. Magical dust, that's pretty much required to do anything magical, one way or another.
Source Hunter, welcome, welcome.
I've learned about the relationship between Zandelor and the Witch Sisters. You told me you had no idea who the stranger in the inn could have been.
Yes, that was a small fib on my part, I'm afraid. Zandelor is known as the Keeper of the Source, after all. And I didn't know how Source Hunters would react to my association with such a colorful character.
Right. So you lied because it was convenient. I had a couple of loot items that don't really serve anything, any real purpose. I use the cash. Could I use the General Ray's doll and the magic powder? Doll representing the infamous general from a distant future. If you hold it, you feel unearthed to pull levers. I was sort of thinking it might have been like a voodoo doll, the voodoo doll thing. So if we would prepare this, we might be able to do something with it. Ah, shit. Crafting equipment. We do have a belt. I think we have belts and gloves. Right, so any other item but a belt or a glove with crafting would be useful. Petrifying touch. It's not worth much, but I'll take the loot that I can. Large resist all potion, 25 resistance to all. It's valuable, but not like super amazingly valuable. I'll buy it. Right, what exactly do we need to do?
Still, one can't help but wonder where the gods have run off to in all this. The
Wild
void
woman
won't
and the
spare
renegade.
them, you know. There's no hiding from the great nothing.
The church. Ah, this is something we might be able to do.
There were
We needed to
and
deliver a
why
letter, and
is of
I've
no
delivered
import.
that.
This moment is all
Let's
there is.
go and see that.
The crux.
Where's
is
the
what
old
we do with
church?
it.
Uh, where exactly am I? There. Right. I think that's where I wanted to be. So North Gate would have been better. There's still at least a couple of
Beyond
places
these
here I
walls,
could
the dead
also
roam free, Hunter. Be vigilant.
Nothing respawns.
Did you hear that? Back again? You can't frighten me this time.
Yeah, about your wife.
Did I stutter? Deliver the letter. Too sweet.
Then I'll redo that.
Why don't you get on back to Sicil while you still can? There's nothing can be done in this godforsaken place.
Apparently not. Lieutenant Helenia told us what. Oh, okay, I need to report to the lieutenant. Don't really expect much from this, but the experience from completing quests might be valuable.
Good luck out there, Hunter. Evil lurks beyond Siceel's ramparts.
I could do with a cold drink.
Divines doubly bless you, friend. I shall be very glad to share what information I... By all means.
Culture.
For 2 years, all news has been bad news. And clearly nothing has changed. More dead, more undead, and more letters to write home to grieving widows and widowers. Still, I thank you for telling me, Source Hunter. Knowledge is better than uncertainty. Divines doubly bless you, friend.
Just looking if there's anything really interesting here. Not really. Still, that's one quest completed. We should ask around who Cassandra was. Evelyn, Jake, and Leandra. Not sure we can get anything out of anyone. That seems like it's more about
Sorry, sir.
some kind of background information or foreshadowing of what's to come.
Oh, what now? If you must.
White Witch.
I don't see how my mother-in-law is any of your business, Hunter. Seriously, though, I doubt information given by the zombified remains of a counselor is to be trusted. But then again, you do take the advice of cat wizards, too. I heard she has a cottage in the forest north of the city. I'm sure it's made of gingerbread and you'll find the remains of eaten children. So off you trot in chase of fairy tale fiends.
Sturdy, bordering, earth absorption shields, reflect melee damage. Okay, I've always used for empty grenades, I'll take those. Same time, I'm not really looking to lose money on these, so to trade in something. Could be pretty much anything. Right, it doesn't really look like I can ask about what I wanted to ask. A lot of minor things that could be useful for crafting, but that's it. Here we have the guy we can't really get anything out of. The only place worthwhile would be this. I'm not sure how worthwhile that would be. Just looking at things, yeah, the jailer's cookbook might be the only really interesting stuff here. Everything else sort of looks like it contains normal crap. So I'm not particularly too interested in trying getting there. My sneaking skills, I don't know, we could buy the invisibility skill. Could I take a look at this? The other big one was at the beach. As far as I can see at the moment, they're more or less just for loot, which, while nice, we don't particularly have a huge reason to try to hoard too much, simply because we're constantly getting magical items and trading them away.
May the Seven bless you, most generous friend.
I'm looking for blank scrolls mainly, that's why I'm coming here. I want to see what price they would be asking for them.
You, scrolls to entussle you. Dearest customer, I've never seen an aura so plagued by ether. Thank Astarte.
The scrolls themselves are not really worth it. At the same time, if you have extra money, I don't see why you wouldn't. Like, still a massive amount of water damage. Take an opponent that's weak to water and you could easily do 1,000 points of damage in a single turn. Well, easily might be stretching it, but close to that. How do you do medium magical armor potions, let alone large magical armor potions? You can't combine two small ones to a medium. So it has to have some kind of additional recipe how it works. That's sort of why I suppose I don't particularly care for this, because it would be easier if there was some kind of unified logic to how things work. There is to some extent, but it also seems to arbitrarily shift to something else from time to time. With potions, it seems like outside healing potions, you need to combine something different to basically buff the potion up somehow. Probably another potion though. Could be a attribute increasing potion. I think I have recipes for maybe 2 attributes, but clearly there is a potion for every attribute. Big chicken foods. Yeah, I think these are more of we can use pixie dust to do something with them. Rat's tails. Fortify other pieces of equipment. So basic crafting crap. Not bad, but not amazingly good either. If I start to have huge amount of money and nothing really where to shove them, I think buying master level spells probably a fairly good idea. Long range elemental damage attacks, like this. 70 meters range, does more than 100 air damage, can stun and it jumps from target to target. So a couple of these could basically end a tough fight before it even starts.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many
halibut, sheep's
Well,
cheese.
what sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silver? Poison? Get to the point.
To the size of this fine golden
There's also... Ooh. What are these? These were the treasure maps. It's also the possibility that you can't actually craft everything. So, trying
Quiet day on the
to
market,
find
it
a
seems.
recipe for every single thing is not actually viable. Yep, either way, I don't think we're gonna get much out of this, so... Any other quests? Braccus Rex. This is something we can
Solution to the
easily
zombie
do.
problem than a set of silver arrows.
Quiet day on the market, it seems.
Aim straight. Aim true.
I'm sort of interested in trying Braccus Rex again. My interest is he casted master level fire spells the start of fight. And when we first went there, it was instant death plus. He also had 3 powerful other enemies in his support. That would still be respectable enemies even at this moment. My point would be to see, do they also basically get more powerful as I level up? They were at the same level I was when I first went there. So their apparent weakness or might have been because once you're supposed to face them, they are at a much higher level, so they would have a much more hit points and all that. Same as me. But I would also survive the initial attacks he would use. It's worth a try. I can at least make sure someone survives the first turn. Because spell damage doesn't seem to scale with level at all. So
Let's see.
it would make sense if the spell would be very damaging if you have access to it at a low level. But once you level up a bit, it should lose its sting quite a bit. It would still be a like level 15 spell before we could cast it once, so at least 3 levels more on top of what we currently have. We have some resistance potions, we have resistance items, but I can buff my fire resistance to some extent no matter what I do. Just not sure if it's gonna make much of a difference. What I want to see is there any point even giving a shot at this point? Certainly don't want to do fire damage. I think he was vulnerable to cold, which is water. Extra damage or extra hit points? Extra hit points. I'm more or less interested in seeing how powerful resistance items. It would have to be fire resistance. Hit points or fire resistance. One resistance item. Perception and lore master doesn't matter really. Right, Jahan can't get all that high of fire resistance with his current equipment. Well, I can certainly improve my fire resistance. One-third of the damage ignored already. Half damage ignored. And this should probably go to someone else. More fire resistance. %58%. Fire resistance and sneaking. Can't have a weapon doing fire damage, that won't work. Well, it will work poorly. Chance to do stunned is probably the best. Although water will do extra damage, but I'm not sure if it'll do enough extra damage to warrant the switch. Immunity to fear, probably a good idea. Fire resistance and hit points. Fire resistance. Strength and fire resistance. Fire resistance, poison resistance. Pretty much 2/3 fire damage filtered out automatically. We could go for... Someone can get extra fire resistance. Be you, your fire resistance sucks. Initiative and hit points versus fire resistance. So 1/4 damage gone. 58% damage gone. 59% damage gone. And you, 15% damage gone. What are your weapons? Can't be fire. So we need to switch on that. And the stunning damage is always nice. Immunity to blind. Immunity to bleeding. Immunity to fear. I think we are pretty much fear resistance normally already. Also another top sarong of fire resistance. We could concentrate some of the items, we could also gain immunity to someone, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea, because it's not good enough on its own. Not enough strength. Royal Guard Talisman. A lot of resistances all around. Someone probably should wear this. Movement is terrible, but fire resistance is massive. And you can't even move your ass anymore. Probably switch the strength item away. Just say it before I did this changes, because this is just testing for testing purposes. So this could lead to nothing. Not sure if we have any chance of surviving this. More or less a situation check to see how this is, how the fight changes when we level up. I would assume it has to change. Magical lock. Yeah, he's still level 9. Water weakness. I don't think he has actually leveled up at all.
First the city and the children shall burn. Sigils of terror and torment will blight the land. Here now. But how long has it been a favor? Oh my, the reason a woman. No man.
Let's see what happens. This was instant death previously. Still a lot of damage.
My life is...
They're poisoned. But survivable. So there's potential there. There's only a couple levels higher though. Yeah, we're probably very resistant to physical damage. Won't be surviving too many of those attacks though. Not sure where all the damage came from though.
My friend!
No shit, the game touch failed. Okay, what exactly can we do? Alright, he's lost half his health from that single attack. He's not super amazing anymore. It's not bad by any means either.
I float above all danger.
Can I get into a backstab situation? Yeah, but I'm not sure that's what we should go for.
Stabbing barrage!
Just spread the healing around a little bit, so that prepared properly.
I feel better already.
Okay, I do need to get rid of the fire no matter what. There's no alternative to that. As long as we're burning, our resistance to fire drops 30%. Set freezing status. Nether swap. I think the fight would be better started in other ways. Basically not just rushing here, but position yourself differently. At the same time, I'm not also sure by any means that actually defeating Braccus Rex here by reducing his hit points to 0 actually makes much of a difference to anything. So I don't know what exactly what can I achieve by doing this like this. Put a stun. Probably try to heal someone. Can't really do much, honestly. I'm more or less interested in seeing what happens if we reduce him to 0 hit points. There are better ways to fight. Much better ways. They killed my undead warrior. He was a good decoy.
Stay for combat!
You wouldn't happen to have a healing potion. He'll kill the skeleton, very likely. Which is perfectly fine. Braccus Rex might be absorbing damage. Doesn't matter in the slightest though. Dora is knocked down. Wouldn't happen to have good healing potions. Right, we can do a single attack pretty much on him. Well, good effort, I guess.
I need to dry off.
No, you don't. You really, really don't. Attack or defend? I think we would be better off attacking. Right, his ass is frozen. So that alone is totally worth everything. He's stuck there. So we're definitely also lucky here. You are vulnerable to being on fire, yes.
These flames bite deep!
Braccus Rex is gone, at least temporarily, whatever that
That is the final end of Braccus Rex.
May his soul remain in the depths of hell for good.
means. Yeah. Medora, you really need to heal though. We'll take these things one at a time. I might be able to get the twins by fire join. Their turn is next anyway. Certainly get behind them.
Smoke and mirrors.
I'm drenched!
Yeah, you need to heal your own ass. Potions maybe? Even a weaker potion to... Ah, right. Things aren't looking god awful anymore. Heal her ass a little bit. Too far one? Fine. And he's stuck. What a shame. What a shame.
Flash fire!
Debuffs have priority, but any damage will do. And he's crippled. Isn't all that much I can do. I think I'll save my points. Critical. Okay, I can easily kill him, as long as I don't use a lightning attack. But I'd like to regenerate her ass. And that's pretty much all I can do. Slow current, maybe? There's n...
Honey.
Yeah, he's not doing really anything too bad. And that retard is stuck on the base, so he'll never do anything. Okay.
Flash fire!
buttons. Nice loot. Nothing too amazing though.
As good as a new head.
What the fuck was that? Mostly asking because it didn't seem all that impressive. This guy has less than 600 hit points, so I'm not particularly impressed with anything he can do. I can probably get an attack in. I want a knockdown. I think he's basically screwed. Air weakness. Yeah, that's not a good weakness to have in this group.
Behold the power of mages!
And Decaying Touch. No, let's go closer. Decaying Touch would prevent him from healing, but I don't think that's much of a consideration at this point. And I can do powerful electrical attacks, so yeah, you are dead. I'll loot everything.
Now this is valuable. Fortune!
I wonder at what stage is this guy supposed to be taken out. Is there here doesn't seem to be that strict, so there might not be a strict place where it's intended to be taken out. But even at our current level, we were reduced to quite low hit points, and if we would have lost any guys really at the start, we would have been more or less screwed. So it's clearly not intended to be some kind of a level 20 boss fight, but I'm not sure what it's intended to be really. We got halfway to a level up. Source King. We do have some sort of a This is destroyable. Very tough one though. What exactly can we open? Chest of the Source. It's clear that we have to have some sort of a key for it. I'm not sure what the lock there signifies really.
Glimpse anything unusual?
Khan wants to discuss something.
The king is dead. Long live... well, not he. He came close though, Braccus Rex. Close to fulfilling his dream.
Dormant he would lie until loyal followers that persisted through centuries would restore him to life afresh. As a ghoul, no more was he reborn. Exactly the type of base necromancy I abhor. But now that he is dust at our feet, I can't help but feeling a morsel of pity. The work of ages, the desire beyond death, we undid with a simple stroke of the sword.
This thing from the grave wanted to release ruin on mankind. I spit on his corpse. But indeed. Yep.
No beauty? Oh, how you are mistaken. Life, it is such a precious commodity. So precious indeed that death is dealt in droves to merely postpone it, to make it cross the boundaries set by nature. There is much simple irony to be found in these exploits, but at the heart of it lies an equally simple endeavor, which is to overcome the most primal of fears, the dread that prompts philosophy and religion both, and that is the fear of death. To overcome death, if it were possible, is to attain victory over the unconquerable. Such a victory, what a thing of beauty it would be. Still, all this talk about immortality hits the raw and ragged nerve of passing time with relentless momentum. Onward, onward. To be idle is to die.
Okay. I could take the chest with me. I sort of don't want to leave it here. I removed the guardians it had, so someone could just basically come, open the lock and get who knows what, so that doesn't really seem like a sensible thing to do. So if I can carry it, I think I'll just pick it up. But I want to explore this further, see if the solution to it might be here. And I did pick a key to something, so what exactly? And it was the Sorcerer King's key.
My kingdom for a dry shirt!
Quite you. Jeez. Wooden chips could be used to make paper. Paper was never really the problem, it was always how to turn that paper into magical scrolls. We should be able to report this to someone and get some kind of reward out of this. Bone powder combined with something else allowed us to do pixie dust. Summon fire elemental skill. Another Braccus Rex's personal belongings. Okay, this is where we have the E2. It had probably one of the keys. I mean the Starstones, right? The Nerdstone. I was expecting something like that. Otherwise I had trouble seeing what would be the point of this fight in the end. There wouldn't be unless it has one of the stones. Wonder if we can make magical shears. Also wondering, does it matter where you make the bone powder from? Or other what? Because there are very different type of bones in the game. Ancient bones, or just regular bones. So why have the distinction in the first place? I mean, if I would find a regular bone out of this instead of an ancient bone, I wouldn't give two shits about it. I mean, a bone is a bone. So, if you're gonna go through the trouble of making distinct different items, you would imagine that there's some kind of reason for it. Also, it could be just a different name.
You are but kindling for my triumphant blaze!
We could use the tornado. Always forget that I even have this spell.
Source Hunter, is it safe? Have you done it? Please tell me that you have sent Braccus Rex to the grave once and for all.
Sure thing, buddy.
Magnificent. Oh, truly wondrous. I feel like a prisoner set free. Free to bask in the daylight once more. I was so fearful. Petrified almost in the knowledge that I might see him again. You see, I knew the Mad King. In fact, I served him.
Come again?
I'm a wizard hunter, and that means I've seen many centuries pass me by. They weren't always happy ones, and you may take that as an understatement. I was once under Braccus's thrall, bound to him by perfidious magic. Life was an endless cycle of servitude, torture, and humiliation. Only after the first source hunters skewered him like the pig he was did my nightmare end. As you can imagine, I was afraid beyond all measure that the fiend would enslave us all once more. That I'd be cast back into the rank pit that was my past. But he hasn't, and he never will. Thank you. I will never forget this act of valor.
I asked Braccus about Cassandra. Turns out she was his sister. A sister with a man cap?
So you have heard of her? Yes. I knew Cassandra. She was a sweet girl when we met. Hardly a woman yet. The very opposite of her deranged brother, who did not hesitate to butcher her for his own benefit. We were fast friends in those days. Aye, more than friends. Until he took her down to the dungeons, and she returned a woman no longer. A twisted lich had she become, with a twisted mind to match her grisly new shape.
Why did Braccus turn his own sister into a lich?
He remorselessly and relentlessly sought ways to cheat death. Cassandra and he were soul-forged, so he knew that if she would die, he would die.
Yeah, the Soul Forged thing seems to be a pretty big thing about the game, but there's quite a few people pairings here.
And so he turned her into a lich. Turned her into a creature neither living nor dead, so that he could break the Soul Forge without destroying himself in the process. Giving the matter no further thought, he rid his sister of her humanity, so as to rid himself of a spell that could threaten him. Such a man was Braccus Rex. Immortal in his mind and immortal to be in effect. As your swords and spells have demonstrated, though, to this world's everlasting contentment, his deranged fancy was not to be.
Cassandra is an immortal lich. Where is she now?
I don't know. When the Source Hunters besieged Braccus' castle, I sought only to escape. I never heard of her again.
Truly? Even though, as you say, you and Cassandra were more than friends?
Yes. I longed for freedom, for release. When I saw my chance, I ran and never looked back.
So, now that Braccus has been dealt with, what's next?
You have foiled one of Leandra's vile designs, that much is certain. But I highly doubt you forestalled her endgame, whatever that may be. It is therefore imperative that we find her sister Ikara. As you've learned from the accursed duo that was Jake and Evelyn, the White Witch is somehow involved. I will vouch for her gentle nature, but alas, I cannot vouch for her current state of mind. Has she been corrupted by her sister, perhaps? Or have they become enemies locked in a murderous game of cat and mouse? There's no way of knowing until you find her. What I do know is that she lives in a cabin deep in Lacula Forest to the north.
No shit.
Very well, Hunt.
So I think maybe tactical positioning, things like that could have seen you through this. I mean, you could have just eaten up the Meteor Swarm with a single character and resurrected him immediately after with the talent that you revive at full health or with a powerful healing potion. So you could have basically negated his most powerful ability right from the start. So I think we didn't show any kind of special talent or skill from this point. We just tanked him. A few levels earlier and some real skill probably would have been involved in this. But what the fuck is the test of the Source King? I have no idea how to dispel this lock. Doesn't seem to be anything special here. I'm not even sure if it's something we can pick. Backpack. I already had one. Does this actually contain something? No, just a pose for inventory management. Right, looks like we're not gonna get anything really interesting out of this. What do you want from me, game? Why can't I open the chest? I move it around. It's a door here. I'm guessing it's the lock itself. has to be a